Okay, well, let's see if this is going to work. I need to put my monitoring bit up here. And I need to come over here and go to subscriptions. And hey, look, Jeff Lutz is available. And he should be... Radar Ops with Jeff, evening. Okay, nice. Bit up here. No, and you can hear me too. And I need to come over here and go to subscriptions. Hey, look. All right, we'll turn that down to nothing. I can kind of see what I have going on here. All right, well, my wife and I were with friends here in the RV park and playing cards. I saw the watch come out earlier, and then we finished. Mary is watching TV, and I decided to come back over here. I'm a little concerned that there is a bow echo going into... What county is that? It's going to go across US 59, so... And you can see kind of the classic bow structure here. This is the comma head. And then you've got these weak echo regions here on the reflectivity where the drier air is coming in. And then you've got over here on the... Then you've got the higher wind speeds. Now, the detectors are showing, was showing in the previous scan up to 70 miles an hour. Now that may not be at the surface. That is something that you have to be aware of. And they have in here winds of 55 miles an hour, which is below severe for the special weather statement that they put out earlier. So... And what was I going to do? Oh, yes. I'm going to do that. Let's see how high up the winds are. All right, so that's 100 miles out. Beam height's at 7,800 feet. So that's not necessarily coming down onto the surface. Especially in the evening, we start getting a nocturnal inversion. So an inversion is where the temperature is rising with height. Usually it falls with height. Sorry, drinking my Mountain Dew. And when it does that, when it does warm, it becomes very stable. The air won't rise above it because if it's warming with height, the warm air below can't get above it, is what basically happens. So if that's the case, the cooler air above can't come down. And if that's the case, then you're not going to get a big transfer of momentum for the wind to come all the way back down to the surface. So that's one of the things that we have to watch out for when doing night radar operations. Also, I'm going to turn off some of these extras here. Statements. Yeah. Turn off the watches momentarily here for a bit. Okay, so there's two watches out currently. There's the one... Oh, so that's part of Webb County. Okay, so that's in the original warning. Or watch. Okay. Duval is the next one over where the warning is, just north of Freer. LaSalle is where Cotulla is. McMullen is there where Callaham is. And Tilden, that's the town I was thinking of. Okay, so we will put it back onto a watch. So there's two watches out. The original watch earlier in the afternoon that I talked about, that where stuff had come through Laredo. Still kind of doing that. And then the newer watch is everything from, you can kind of see the line here. So it's everything east in the county warning area. Oops. So those would be, I got to think here. Oh, so McMullen and Duval County east. So in the basically the brush country, east to the coastal bend. So let's turn that off. We can kind of see Refugio. Okay, so Aransas, Refugio. Looks like they left Calhoun out. Calhoun and Victoria and Goliad are out. Yeah, Beeville, B County, and those are all in. So, as was talked about in the when the updated Outlook came out earlier in the afternoon, they mentioned that there would be a threat of a line of thunderstorms that would get together and cause wind damage. And this looks like what we're seeing now. So if we actually turn on, let's see the outlooks here. Categorical. How do we do wind? There we go. So the wind outlook for tonight roughly looks like that. So it's pretty much where the watch is outgoing. And we are going to turn that on. I'm going to loop a little bit here. You can see that there is kind of a right turn movement towards the east-southeast with most of these. The further north you get with most of these, they're getting very embedded, is what we would call it. You have so much ice production that they're seeding, and it takes away from the energy, and it turns to rain into the system. Where the unimpeded storms on the south end, or updrafts, we're gonna do this. So here's where the storms are being fed. The winds are coming up into there. It's kind of turning into its own area. In fact, let us turn on. I need to turn on surface observations, and we will turn on the. Let's turn on the station plots. Okay. Huh. So much for saying that the winds were all blowing into the system. They kind of are. They're going to the east. There's a few of them, though, that have been... There's kind of an area of low pressure that's been kind of hanging out in this general area. So if we... Whoops. Yeah. There's been a front. You can kind of see up in here. But anyway. Oh, one of the things I did note when I had this looping, and we'll loop it again. Watch the north end of this system here. I call this a comma head, and it's partly because it is kind of rotating in a counterclockwise fashion. You have to watch out, because usually when you start getting that, and you kind of see this notch that forms where the drier air is trying to punch into the system, and that's when you start having all the high wind speeds start coming out, because that you have the winds aloft that are adding into the movement, and then you can end up with a pretty quick burst of wind. Okay. I don't want to take too much here. I'm going to pop out to this and take a look. Now, if you remember from earlier today when I had Pivotal Weather up, and I think I may pull that back up again here. Let's see here. Let's do this real quick. And I want Safari. There we go. Let us do the most recent HER, and we will see what our. But hopefully it does it. It doesn't do photographs. We can do the SBK and the. And can we get into a local one? We'll get the South Central or Southern. That's good. All right. So the winds and the steering winds here at about 500 millibars are running out of the from the west southwest to the east northeast. So that's kind of the main storm movement. And then the 850 winds are running almost against it. So if you kind of somewhat subtract those, you can kind of get a shear vector. You do a vector subtraction, and you can see whether or not they're back building. Now, they're not necessarily back building. What it's doing though is helping to keep the winds. If we actually looked at a photograph, and I think I can only do that on the GFS. So let's take a look. Oh, but I got to back out one space, don't I? Oh, no, here it is. Photographs. Okay. All right. So this is the surface-based cape. So we're still running 14. 1500 surface-based cape. Let's see if I remember right. Let's see. Take a look here. All right, 0 to 1 kilometer is pink, so it's very, very small to see on here. These photographs are not showing nearly as much. We can do a markup here real quick. So right here at the beginning of it, that's the pink. That's 0 to 1 kilometer. So there isn't a whole lot of shear there. Might even be backwards. I'm looking at some of these. Yeah. But 1 to 3 kilometer. Oh, I remember now what I got to do. Done. Delete the PDF. Okay. Yeah, is 1 to 3. And usually 0 to 3 is one of those ones that they'll use to try to determine how much curvature is in these systems, is in the photograph. We're going to look at the sounding here on the GFS. Time is it? 8:30. The new OB may actually be in there, but this is for out in that general area. And what I'm going to do is zoom in here. Yeah, so 0 to 1 kilometer kind of goes out, and then it gives you 3. So it's almost a straight line from 0 to 4 kilometers. And you have a tendency to have, and they're right moving. All right, so yeah, that would make sense. So if we look at the motion that's expected, there it is, 40. Okay, so 333 at 16 knots. If they split, they would be, one would be moving out of the south to the north at 15 knots. The other one's moving out of the northwest to the southeast, which is about what they're doing, and at 16 knots. That's all to say that we have pretty much expecting wind. Yeah, no supercells are expected out of this. So our tendency is going to be straight line winds with these. And these were ones that we would typically get in northern Michigan too. Our biggest severe producer in northern Michigan were straight line winds out of these types of Boeing segments. And let's see here. Let's how about the latest HRRR? Here we go. And it hasn't changed a whole lot, and it's still pretty. It does kind of go back on itself, but then it goes in. But if you see the right moving is 330 at 14 knots. So, and it's a very straight line. In fact, if you look at the rest of the photograph, everything's much more straight. If you go all the way out through 6 kilometers out here where the 6 is, you know, you're just talking about basically straight line type of systems of thunderstorms. Okay, let's go back to, let's close out of this. And I think we will go back and see what's going on here. All right, so this system, so they've issued a warning for this one for the next 47 minutes. The special weather statement is expired on the other one as well. My guess is here for this one, which is affecting Duval, Jim Wells, Live Oak, McMullen, Nueces, and San Patricio counties. Oh yeah, it's up at the head. So Mathis, that's out past Robstown. But Orange Grove would be in the path of this storm. Let's see what other ones are going to be. Where all the higher winds are expected to be. Orange Grove, let's see here. What if I go to 2? Yeah, let's do this. All right, Owl Ranch. Alice might get affected by it, especially the south end if it drops down far enough. Be more concerned with some of this stuff here up on the north side, especially the way this back end is looking, where it looks like there's some dry air intrusion coming in, and it's trying to bow out in this section here. And you can kind of see that. This is going away. This is all coming into going towards the radar. So, and this is the original warning, which is expires in another minute. So that's what they just did. They just basically it's an extension but an expansion with this line that's coming through. Let's take a look at this one. This one's still quite interesting looking. 57 miles an hour on it. But like I said, out in that part of Jim Wells and Duval counties, or not Jim Wells, Webb and Duval counties, there's not a lot of people in that section. And 50 mile an hour winds. It's 55s. Okay. Oh, I saw a 60 in there. Now, let's see here. I want to do which with my tablet here. Now, the one thing that I did do is I turned off, or I unplugged my tablet from the power. I think I might unplug both of these here. The only thing is that I'll lose my connection. Although I probably could stream this on my 5G, and we could take down Starlink for the time being. But we still are a ways away from all the thunderstorms. So I'm not too concerned with it yet. And I was talking about that comma head. So here we can see the winds away from the radar and actually going like this. And the winds into the radar. So that's where you're getting this comma head swirl up here on the north side. We can kind of look at that. And then oops. You can see the dry notch, the lowered reflectivity, where that drier air is moving in and pushing that rain forward. So that's a classic bow. This one's not so classic. We'll see here. Yeah, we're getting some. Yeah, there's some dry intrusion in there. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, yep, starting to pick up some. Here, let's stop it at the most recent one. Here's the inflow notch. There's some outbound winds here. So let's take a look here and see what we can see. Oh, there's been some reports. Here, let's pull these off. 54 mile an hour wind gust. 50 mile an hour wind gust. Okay, so nothing to sneeze at. So there's been a few reports. Are those MPing reports? Mesonet. Oh, okay. Yep, there are some weather instrumentation that's out there. Oh, so there they have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning. For Duval and Webb, with that other one that's just honking along. I don't know if they've got a report. Doesn't look like it. Says radar indicated 60 mile an hour wind gust and penny-sized hail. Yep. Oilton to Miranda City. So Miranda City, there it is. When they originally drew it up. So right along this edge. Right along this edge here. There's Miranda City. It's this big ball right here of wind that has been the biggest concern, as I was talking about earlier. So oh, and they've issued a flash flood warning. Oh yeah, but just some really good heavy rain that's been sitting over that area. They said it was this was going to be quite an interesting thing. Live Oak and San Patricio. Up to 4 inches of rain have fallen. Additional, how long does that go till? Till 10 p.m. this evening, which is An hour and 10 more minutes. So, yeah, that's going to be a concern. The flooding concern may continue a little bit, but we'll see what happens here over the next hour or so. It looks like it's trying to start to open up in that area. Not a lot of wind flow up in that area though, as I was mentioning earlier. But oh yeah, look at the rainfall there up by Skidmore. So the radar estimate, just from the Corpus Christi radar itself, is 3.6. All right. So, hey, let's just take a look at some of the MRMS data with these storms. Okay, so the first things that jump out at me are that's a 1 hour pre-accumulation. Oh, that's all I can do with this, though. That's the problem. Okay, so in an hour, we've had 1.5 inches, which means that some of those areas have probably been receiving inch-hour rains for the last 2 or 3 hours, maybe higher amounts. Now the northern storm, I was pointing out some of the winds. So you are seeing some azimuthal shear. So there is some turning in it, like I was showing there on the comma head of the system. So we will kind of load it up. It doesn't. Is that all I can do with azimuthal shear? Yeah, just the one. Okay. In the Weather Service, we actually have one called azimuthal shear tracks, and so it'll show you over the last hour where specific features are. I can kind of put them together, but there's nothing coherent out of it. Plus, we would also look at some of these ones that are 2 different layers. I think it was 0 to 1 and 1 to 4. No, it's something like that. It was one was shallower than the other, but usually if you saw you could tell a tornado with it, where it was specifically with it. So there's got 1.7 inch hail estimates with this system. Although it sounds like we're not getting a whole lot of hail reports out of it. So the radar may be overestimating how much hail is in these systems. And that is always a possibility. All right, let's see here. Oh, that's what I'm hearing. There we go. I thought I heard voices outside the RV, and I thought someone was wanting to talk here, but as it turns out, it was me on the TV. So, yeah, let's see here. I am going to shift over to X. Let's see here. Where's my X? There it is. Where we're following. Oh, there we go. Strong wind, heavy rain, bruning showers. Okay, so heat wave is definitely showing some of that same stuff on X here. Corpus Christi. There's the warning. Which one is this? Oh, I follow the Carolina Weather Group. That's why. Let's do NWS offices here. Okay, Corpus Christi. All right, there's the warnings. So I get a couple of versions of these things, but they do help. Oh, so those were local storm reports that we got. Those 2 wind reports. It says meso. Oh, KXTF here. Okay, so somebody with a Davis weather station or something like that measured that as it was going through. Wind, hail, nickel-sized possible. So they're not expecting necessarily severe hail. And actually, the hail sizes actually went below 1 inch. So they're not expected to be They weren't expected to be over severe sized hail. It's the winds that would prompted the warning, and you can kind of see it here. I got a couple of services. One, Iowa State, which I follow the one for the office, and then I also put out a lot of these warnings too. You'll see them here. There's IMB. Oh, these are the ones from the office. Yeah, if I go to the profile, that you notice that they have the STX Northern Michigan Rec Weather handle on them. So these are the ones that we're looking at right now. Oops, I don't want to search. I don't want For You either. For You ends up giving me a lot of junk. So, especially when I'm trying to follow things on the weather. Yeah, read Timmer. Okay. All right. I don't see a whole lot there. I was thinking of Facebook. See, Alan Holt is showing some of that same stuff. What is all of this stuff? Ugh. All right. Alabama. I'm just going to have to go back to my personal feed and just look for weather. That's what I was going to do. I guess it won't let me. All right. Well, oh, here I'll look. Well, as a tool, sometimes Facebook is quite useless because then it was showing this flooding. It says in Rockport, but if you look at the date on it, it says the 2021. That doesn't help me for tonight. So, anyway, let's take a look. So, no, not so much Facebook. Let's see if there's anything new in my Twitter feed. What is all this junk? Let's see if we do this. Latest. Not seeing a whole lot other than what's already been reported out there. So, well, we'll just keep rolling. We are getting ready here. You can get, oh my goodness, the stuff that I didn't even realize what that ad was. Oh well. We're going to go back to this. All right, let's take a look at the radar again. Out of Corpus Christi. 2 Boeing segments. The winds have calmed down on the one. We are seeing now 30 to 40 miles. Oh, that's storm relative. Well, still 50 mile an hour winds out of that. This one had some. There's a 50. So it's trying to get up there to severe storm status. Is it? Oh, I guess I just need to hit mute. There we go. I keep hearing myself in the background, so I know that it is working. This is good that I'm able to see that everything is working as far as that is concerned. Let's see here. Go back to this. Let's see here. We can take care of that. Although, what was the... Not that I'm expecting anybody in a chat room on here, but it can do chats. All right. Back to this. Back to radar scope. One thing I've noted here, we were seeing some of the earlier, let's do this, load them up. So in some of the earlier scans, we noted quite a notch here in the back of this storm, and that's when the highest winds were going on, right about here. Now that we've moved in a couple of frames, and you notice that the notch isn't as pronounced where it was. It's now going something like this. It's kind of moved. The area that it was trying to push in on was here. Now it's kind of gone. And the wind speeds are beginning to abate a bit. But there's still some pretty decent ones in there. And it's trying to get, it's still 60, 57. Oh, there's a 63. And just remember that anything, at least if it's reaching the ground, 60 miles an hour or better, 58 miles an hour actually is the criteria. I used to like to tell people when I was doing spotter talks that the big thing with the reason that it's 58 miles an hour was that when they did the original studies and that they set the term at 50 knots because it came originally out of the aviation community and the not so much the maritime, but the specifically the aviation community at that point. And so they were, but 50 knots is 58 miles an hour, and that's where we get it. But usually we tell people anything over 60 miles an hour. 60 miles an hour or greater is the big thing. That's when you really start to note damage, like roof tiles and things being ripped off. It takes a lot to get those things to come off, depending on what's going on. All right. Yeah, the storm relative is relatively benign. It's the absolute velocity that I'm finding the most interest in right now. The storm relative can help you with spin and identifying some things, but the raw wind, when you got straight line wind storms, you can use reflectivity, and a lot of times you can use just the velocity. But you should always have the relative velocity up, because you never know when a storm decides to do something like, create enough spin for a tornado. Usually like those, EF0, EF1 types, which can be kind of hard to spot because they're not very big. And the radar, especially this far out, can have trouble seeing them because of the resolution. I would say, now that I'm not in the Weather Service anymore, if we could have a denser network of weather radar, and specifically the phased array, that would be scary good. But it's not, at least in this atmosphere, is not likely to happen. Besides, phased array is still undergoing trials, trying to figure out how operational it could be used. One of the things that I was hearing was that it was the current version of phased array was a big power hog, so that would cause some issues because of the amount of power. Then we would have issues with, the bills, the electric bills that would rack up on that type of stuff. So anyway, yeah, so these storms, let's see, the specific warnings that are out there currently, that expires in 22 minutes, and this one goes out at 21 minutes. Okay. I think, just based off of viewing these and seeing what's happened, something here, I'm not sure, we might see okay. So this southern one is moving in a way that it's having a tendency to continue moving right along kind of an idea. Oops. Kind of moving like this. And it's not speeding up much. And what I'm concerned with, let's see how this looks. Yeah. It is catching up a bit. I was concerned if it doesn't catch up, then I would really be watching this northern system here, because what it could do is, if it's out free and clear into the air, it could be able to re-intensify easier. I know it's holding together pretty well. I mean, you look at the colors coming out of how bright the greens are. It's still trying to do 50 plus mile an hour winds. The only thing is if this system to the south were to overtake it, and then you've got this big, huge area of embedded rain that's of ice cloud that's just spinning off of it and just raining off to the north, it's liable to disrupt the southern end of this here. So if this were to move into here, it would overtake it, and this would become the dominant system. I've seen that a lot of times on these types of storms. And then at the direction it's moving, it would move into the Brownsville forecast area, and they've already got their watches and warnings posted, at least with some of it. So that is something to keep an eye on. If they can keep enough separation, this would be one to watch as it comes into the Corpus Christi area. But like I said, if that southern one catches up, and it's looking like it's trying to, it might be able to weaken that northern system. Let's go ahead and let's watch it. Yeah, that's a possibility. We'll see how it can do. These systems are really trying to almost outdo each other, it seems like. And one is coming out of the range folding purple haze there, so I feel like I need to be playing Jimi Hendrix when I'm doing these sometimes. Well, that is something interesting to note too. I think I'm seeing there. Let's zoom in on the reflectivity here. Let's move down to 2. All right. And then we'll load up the last 12 frames. Okay, so the highest reflectivities have been sitting roughly right about here. And then there's this little thing. This is away from the radar. And this is into the radar. And I almost want to say that as it, notice that it's here behind all of this initially. But then it's almost out here on the edge. So I think it's reorganizing. It's building further south. It almost looks like the cold pool is matched out here right along, oh come on, there we go, right along the outer edge. It would not be surprising to see this northern one, that its wind gust front would start to outpace it depending on how much of this wind is in here. Let's take a look at some of those wind speeds in here. There's 50s. It's kind of all over the place. It's kind of running. I'm really, I wouldn't say concerned for the health of the storm, if you will. Not that we want it to do any damage. That would be not good. But so what we're seeing here now is this part, the high reflectivities here in a bow-like structure. And that's where we're also seeing the highest wind speeds on that southern end of it. So we'll see how this goes out. I'm starting to think that the northern part of the system is beginning to blow itself out, so that they will probably start soon, I would think. I don't want to put anything into there. They have more of it, but I wouldn't be surprised if this part goes away here shortly. Let's see here. I want to Where's my phone? Oh, okay. Since I have this, you're now live on YouTube. Woohoo! Okay. Since I have this, you're now live on YouTube. Woohoo! Okay. Okay. Since I have this, you're now live on YouTube. Woohoo! Okay. All right, not quite sure what's going on with the phone version of this. Looking at with what is on the computer. Let's see here. Looking at with what is on the computer. Oh, this is what I want to do. Let's see here. Share. Oh, this is what I want to do. Share. Sorry for the dead air as I've been doing this. I am trying to do this on on my recreational weather page as well. Sorry for the dead air as I've been doing this. Okay, so now if I go over here, share. Ah, that's exactly what I wanted. On my recreational weather page as well. Okay, so now if I go over here, share. Ah, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay. The winds are picking up here. All right, so this is what I was concerned with. That system, and what I was noting earlier, is beginning to pick up. Okay. So, let me, oops, wrong one. There we go. The detector tool. Oh, 77 miles an hour. Coming right in by Alice. That is going to be a concern in the Alice area. So, let's see here. Yeah, okay. And those storms are kind of moving off to the... Yeah. We will see here. Actually, I should probably pull up the Alice observations. And I'm going to mute that back. So I keep hearing myself repeating back everything. This observation is okay. It's just that it's probably better if I got to here. And what we're going to do is we can get rid of that and that. Let's see if there's been an update on the outlooks. Doesn't look like, oh, it's still, there we go. Day one. Okay, they have updated the outlooks a little bit just to show you that they've taken the stuff that was up north and west of Laredo and shrunk it down a little bit, which is where we're expecting. This is where all the main action is now. Everything else is pretty much kind of done as far as the severe potentials is tonight. Let me get rid of that one too. We'll look at the latest map here. Yep, it's all going to be on this frontal boundary. It looks like it. They say it's a cold front. I guess. Well, there is a gradient back here. So let's see if we can take a look here real quick. I don't want to get too far out. I think that there will probably be another warning put out for that one in coming into Alice to extend it. I would be surprised, especially if it can keep up its. But so I was saying how there is a thermal gradient. So here's 67 over 64, 65, 61. So cooler air is trying to focus its way down behind the low. This stuff has been kind of keeping the front at bay. Out here in front, we're still in the 70s, almost in down here by the coastal bend. It's more like the mid 70s. So that is our main driver of the systems going through here. Yes, I was going to pull up on here. Well, not Corpus Christi. I want Alice. But that's an easy fix to make. All right. Oh, my pencil's running out of power. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and charge it. That's an easy thing to do. All right. So, right now we're looking at 15 gust 21 out of the north-northwest. So let's take a look here at the storm. It's almost right on top of the Alice Airport, which is up here. Again, at least with this, I can draw with my finger. Oh, but if you look, here's the highest winds. 76 miles an hour. Well, we'll see if there's actually 76 mile an hour winds blowing out of this. Remember, as I keep saying, there is probably a bit of an inversion. Oops, I need to do this. No, turn off. There we go. Those winds are, the beam height's at 1,400 feet. So maybe we're going to get below the, maybe we'll be able to get below, some of the winds will get below the, inversion. All right. Oh, I know what I wanted to also look at. Oh, yeah. So if we look at the 0Z sounding, and I can't highlight with this one, unfortunately. I would really love to. You notice where at the bottom, you start at the very bottom, that's the surface, and it goes up to the right, to the left. So that's cooling with height, and then it starts to warm with height. And that's a pretty, in fact, it gets a little better up here at about, what is that, 925 millibars. Yeah, that is which, let's see, 364 feet at 1,000 millibars. So it doesn't allow you to get necessarily sample any of these points. Let's see if I can do this here. No, it's not going to let me do anything with my pencil. I was hoping to be able to show on my pencil if I could do that. And I don't think this gives me a markup. No, just a share on it. Yeah. So at this point, done button. Okay. So the southern system is actually falling apart. It looks like it's getting taken over by the stuff to its south, which is not all that impressive. I was going to try and get the pencil out, but I'll just use my finger here on. I can do that with the radar scope app. So this stuff here does not look very organized anymore. And it looks like it is starting to send its ice and rain to the north so that it's out, and it's outpacing the southern, it's very much. So this is becoming kind of a mess, kind of like my drawing is. There's still some good winds out of it. It's not to say that there isn't anything that's strong, but there tend to be in the 30s now. But like I said, this one here, you could kind of see that it was trying to get another little bow echo inside its storm system going. And it's still showing 70 miles an hour. So let's see what we got here. And it just did that. Okay, so now it's past Alice in the airport. Let me do a refresh on this. Alice luckily does every 5 minutes. Oh, there we go. 55 miles an hour, 920. So it'll be interesting to see what it comes in with its peak wind. I don't know if I can. Let's see. Does it do raw observations with that? It does. 48 knots. It's 55 miles an hour, but it doesn't do a peak wind report. That's too bad. My guess is that we'll get a peak wind report from the system at the top of the hour. But I mean, that's a pretty healthy little storm there. And we'll go back to the decoded obs. And then it says haze at 3 miles. I think it's more like rain, but thunder began at 9:08, but it ended. Some of these some of these automated systems are a little goofy. All right, so let's go back to surface and precipitation here. And we will look at reflectivity with the precip type. Okay, 7 p.m. And we are now at 9:30 p.m. There's 10. Yeah, the GFS is already woefully behind the 8 ball. Here we are at 2:30 Zulu and 9:30, 2.5 hours. Maybe it's not. Let's see here what it said for 10 o'clock. Let's see if I can. Six. Yeah, 3 Zulu, 10 o'clock. It showed the biggest stuff should be coming through Laredo, and it is at least half a county, almost 2 counties over. Let's see what the HER was saying. Convection allowing HER at 1 Zulu. It says 18, so we'll bump it up to there. Okay, so there it is. So it is showing that at 3Z, which is about where all of the precipitation's at. So if we were to match this up with the radar, Shazam. Marine thunderstorm winds 40 miles an hour from ship. Where's that in? That is in oh, is that the Victoria Ship Canal? Could be. Just heard my phone activate for something here. Special marine warning. Oh, there it is. All right, so Nueces Bay, Corpus Christi Bay, and looks like all the way down to Baffin Bay, where we're expecting stuff. Oh, and we've got a new thunderstorm warning, which came out. It expires in 28 minutes. What did it come out? Probably while I was talking about all the other stuff. Oh, 1 minute ago-ish. What time is it? Oh, 3 minutes ago. Looks at the wrong thing. The clocks in the RV are probably not quite there. Wow, look at that. $80 miles an hour. 66 miles an hour. What time is this one going out? Well, the main thunderstorm warning for the bigger group, they may just let that expire, but it's at 42 minutes. But that bow echo with this one is really been kicking up quite a bit. Let's see, this one's trying, I think this one's trying to re-intensify too down here. We'll see. There's the better winds for it, but it's not doing anything yet. Let's play these out. Well, I'll tell you, this rear inflow notch on this second storm is really starting to get much better defined. This rear inflow notch here. And this one's got a bit of one here, pointing right into the head. Nope, we got. There's a 55 mile an hour wind from the gut, from the public. Oh, thunderstorm wind damage with that from the public as well. Okay, so, I mean, they had the warning out. Looks like they've trimmed it down a bit since then. That's the thing. They can trim out as the storm goes by. So there's no need to have some of these in there, and they'll do it as they go on. But then they issued a new one specifically for that bow, which is quite the interesting bow echo. But that is quite a bow echo going out of there. Yep. If it can keep up, and it looks like it's kind of hedging towards maintaining its sort of right mover-ish idea. It's trying to move more due east, but the better winds are starting to open up, it looks like. there on the south end. That's where, yeah, 84 mile an hour winds are happening. Whoops, let's get over here. There we go. IKG has no wind. Okay, it might not, but ooh, but then goes from those 84 mile an hour ones, and now that's swept out. So the better winds are now in the middle. They're still in 70 to 74 miles an hour. Okay, so still something. That one there is something to keep an eye on. I wonder if he put a considerable tag on it. I know the forecaster. I mean, they tell you the names on the end of the systems, but or the trying to see. Oh, threat destructive. Okay. Oh, so they put a destructive tag on it. EMF. Oh, Eric. Okay. Tornado-like wind speeds expected. Mobile homes. Yeah, the call to action is quite impact. A radar indicated 90 miles an hour. Yeah, I mean we've seen winds observed near 90 miles an hour. Must have been at one of the. It says radar indicated, but it must have had a storm report or something, a Mesonet report or something that it ran over. That oh, and there are some here. Let's take a look. 75 miles an hour from the Public, just outside of Alice, or in Alice. Public was the thunderstorm wind damage. It almost looks like the prison. No, that's in San Diego. That's out further. Thunderstorm wind damage. So they're getting some wind damage on it. Like I was saying, that stuff was, as it was coming into Alice, that was the thing. So they put a destructive tag on there. That is a very big concern now. As he said in there, tornado-like winds. Straight line winds, when it's 74 to 84 miles an hour, those things are not much different from an EF0, EF1 tornado. So just remember that it doesn't matter necessarily that it's a tornado, but straight line winds can do almost as big a damage. I am going to leave this running, but I need to turn down the microphone for a second. I'm going to go get myself another drink, so Okay. Oh, another big boost to 80 something. This is a major storm. And it's rolling right down. What road is that? Let's see if it'll label it. There's 77 at Driscoll. Oh, there it was. 665. So if you're on 665, coming out of Driscoll, heading towards Alice, you need to beware. There 70 to 75 mile an hour winds coming right down the road. If you're south of 665, you may have 80 to 85 mile an hour winds going. Oh wow, there's a 90 or really close to 90. 89.5. Yeah, that's the brightest pixel in there. Okay. Just kind of curious. 2 to 2.5 inches. Well, they are doing. These thunderstorms are appearing where they need to be to help out the water issue in Corpus Christi. I'll put it that. Certainly do without the damage, but okay. So they've updated the warning. I've trimmed some of it out. One warning goes for 14 minutes. That's the one with the extremely dangerous situation. The other one's goes for 29 minutes, and then the watch. Okay, so Boy, this storm is honking. And if you're in the path of this storm, if you somehow have seen my live stream, yeah, you need to take cover coming down with this stuff. This is reminding me of the QLCS event that I worked in northern Michigan back in 2017, 2018, something like that. Maybe it's 2015. Has it really been that long? We had a big old storm come across Lake Michigan at that time. It ended up with 80 and 90 mile an hour winds. Maybe an EF0 along the edge of it at one point, but I mean the 80 and 90 mile an hour winds was enough. I mean, we're getting 60 mile an hour in the storm relative. So let's see here in the warning. Looks like they've done another update. Okay. It's out of Jim Wells County now. Southwestern Nueces. Okay, so here's the, okay, so this is the warning itself. It goes until 10, so about another 15 minutes, or 11 minutes, looking at this now. I keep forgetting the clock on my sound system slash DVD player for the RV is about a few minutes behind. Let's do this. Not quite what I wanted to do. Oh, there's Robstown. Okay. Okay, so let's stop this here. There you go. This light blue area in the velocity, and we'll just put it down to here. This is the most concerning portion of the storm. Holy cow. So let's turn that off. Let's clear that. So here we go. This is the most concerning part of the storm. It is continuing on almost due east. And now it has over 90 miles an hour. Almost 100 miles an hour in some of these pixels. Okay. So, if you're near Driscoll, you need to be, hopefully you've already taken cover, because there's just no La Palma Lost Creek. You're right on the edge. Winds should be picking up and probably increasing. Looking at it this way, with the direction that it's moving, which is tending to go due east, I think if you're in Robstown, you're going to get on the fringes of some of this up here. Wind speeds up in that general area of the storm are still 45 to 55 miles an hour. So you need to be aware of that. But let's see. This is 69 east. So if you're in 69 east is going to get rocked here for probably the next 10 or 15 minutes at least. All around Driscoll. Because in here are 100 mile an hour winds. We can just find them real quick. 92, 95, 97, 97, 96, 94. There's 99.5. Basically, it's 100 miles an hour. Some of these are going to be nasty things. This watch box or warning box is the thing you really need to pay attention to. And my guess is, because it's so strong right now, they will extend this out. Would not surprise me if they're in the process of trying to get this thing, a new box, started here. And they'll cancel all the stuff behind it. More 99, 98. Yeah, so we're looking at almost 100 miles an hour. All right. That was probably a little crazy. 142 is not likely, and there's some range folding. So there is some de-aliasing issues from time to time with the radar, especially as we get in closer, but the rest of it, the 100 mile an hour, I mean, that stuff is pretty reasonable. Oh, and there's the new box. Okay, new warning box has been done almost right into downtown Corpus Christi. We'll take a look at the warning itself. This goes out through 10:15. Southeast at 35. Wind 70 miles an hour, nickel-sized hail. Considerable threat tag. Wind threat observed 70 miles an hour. Okay. So they have been getting observations and probably getting damage reports too. back over here. Go to the Alice Airport, see if there's any more. Oh, there we go. So when the storm went through the Alice Airport, they had 89-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Sustained winds, so it's a 2-minute wind average of 62 miles an hour. But the wind gusts themselves as high as 89. HEB unsweetened lime water is the bomb. Okay. Oh, no, this is... Oh, I was looking at the wrong warning. Here it is. Still extremely dangerous situation. 32 minutes. It goes until 10:30. Yeah, okay. .90-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Destructive tag on it. Okay. You know, with as fast as the storm system is moving, the fact that the storm in its relative velocity is running, oh boy, that section is running 113, and this up here closer is 93, 95. Yeah, folks, this is really a strong storm. I mean, there may be some issues with the radar de-aliasing some of this, but the winds on this thing are just getting out of hand with it. And right now, it looks like, based on its direction, okay, the old box is dropped off. The new one is the one warning box, that is. And the watch boxes are still out there. And of course, the office probably can't deal with the expiring or canceling the old watch, although I think it's supposed to... It goes to 11 o'clock out there by Laredo, so that one's pretty much done, just based off of looking at the radar and the wind speeds and wind directions. Yeah. So, just out of curiosity, I'm going to switch over to the satellite. And we're going to go down to one panel. And we're going to turn off the watch boxes. There we go. That's a little easier to see here. I'll load up some satellite. There we go. So Corpus Christi is that area that's just in light. The true color, or whatever it is, what we call geocolor, at night actually had a showed, you can see where the cities were based on the fact that they had night vision map overlays that they would switch these over to. Let's change this. And that really is only for night, for daytime. Let's see here. Where's 10? That's not what I want. Clean long wave. That's better. Yeah. And one thing that RadarScope, I'm sure that they would, given some time, they'll work on this. Being able to overlay the radar with the satellite data, so that would be kind of neat. All right, we're gonna go back, jump back into. Actually, we'll go to MRMS now. We will do a split screen. I would say, yeah, we don't have a tornado going with it. I mean, the azimuthal shear is just getting rocked with that one, with those really high winds. The way I know that's not a tornado is you would see a really small point of these reds, and that would correlate with. Let's put 4 up here. And it would correlate with some really good, almost with a path. And that's one of the things that I missed at the office. They do have the size of hail for 1 hour, so that does help. But the azimuthal shear, you would have these bright red, but it would just be in one big continuous line. They did you could follow the trail, and they don't have that yet. So I'm hoping that we will get that in here sometime in the future. That would be great. Okay, so that's an interesting little feature there. Let's take a look. There, outbound. Okay, so much, not so much. There is a kind of a semi-pendant on it, so it's trying to spin something up. Okay, so winds do seem to be on the downward trend. We'll see how well this thing can hold together as it comes into it. But here we are, it's almost to Tierra Grande. and it's on 660. If it's riding along 665. It looks like it is going to pass just south of the airport. And it looks like it's going to pass just south of the RV park. Hmm. Two inches in an hour. Nice. 250, 200. That was our southern storm. It's there, but pretty embedded. So I think all that stuff to the south has affected it. Unless it can reorganize itself, which it doesn't look like it's going to be able to do. You never know. But it's this northern storm that we've been watching. Oh, what's the yellow? Oh, that's what's left of the original warning. Okay. It's only 5 more minutes. Okay. Then we'll just have the one warning with the extreme destruction. Extremely dangerous situation. There's the ball of wind. Looks like it's starting to fall apart coming in towards the airport. Just getting to Robstown. I wonder if it's got 5-minute obs. Let's take a look here. Okay, let's move to Robstown. Okay. So far, 23, 22 miles an hour. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some gusts to 40. The system is looking like it's starting to blow itself out. Still have some 60-mile-an-hour storm relative winds, which is still pretty impressive. Well, looks like they just issued a warning all the way up here. Well, it's for San Patricio County. I don't know, we're in one of the towers, but it's south of the RV park. Okay, well, I was texting my wife. She's in a friend's trailer here nearby, so she did not receive the EAS WIA alarm like I did, which you heard. But I did not get an INWS alert, which I still have my account there, because in the storm, we are at the Seabreeze RV Resort right here in Portland, and the box goes just south of Portland. So we are doing okay here, and I feel like Peter McKinnon on that. Winds have come down quite considerably. More like there's some 55s. There's a 70. I don't know. Now that could be some de-ailing issues when you have a big jump like that. But we are seeing be 45 to 55 mile an hour winds with some of those as it comes into Corpus itself. And then there's a big ball of rain. Now, that being said, there's going to be a lot of, there could be some marine issues, and that warning is still going. Let's see if we can pull that warning up. Yeah, 55 minutes on the warning as this stuff is coming out here. Yeah, the southern storm is almost completely gone. There's a little bit of this northern storm looks like it has blown out all of its steam. What's left of the really high winds now is down to about 25 to 35 miles an hour. And there's some out here by the airport. Robstown's now got 25 to 30. Okay, well, I think I'm going to shut down everything because we are getting the thunderstorms in here sooner, pretty soon. I've already started hearing more thunder out there. I haven't seen any lightning yet, but it is something that we'll have to be concerned with. So I'm going to probably take some precautions. There's a lot of lightning with these storms. Although even then, cloud to ground stuff is now focused further south. Okay. So I think with that, I'm going to sign off for tonight. See if anything else here with Robstown. Nope. Let's do one more thing before I sign off here. right to Corpus Christi. Okay. 37 miles an hour. Peak wind so far. Okay. Well, with that, let me get to my software here. Been on for almost 2 hours, and it's been running on the thing, so I am